If you look around, it seems like almost every big VFX studio or game studio under the sun is seeking and hiring talents from developing countries nowadays. Not only that, they have taken it a step further by opening studios there in places like India. For example, Dneg has 3 studios in India among 7 of his total studios. So I couldn't help it but wonder, why is this the case? And what are the secrets behind this practice? But also, how this is affecting CG artists in developed countries like Europe and America, for example. As an example of this outsourcing trend, we have studios such as Big VFX, which partnered with many mainstream companies over the years, such as Netflix, Paramount, HBO, and of course Marvel, in productions such as Deadpool 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Wonder Woman. And of course, there are many countries that the industry goes for, such as Malaysia or Brazil. So India is just a good example, despite being a big one. Another reason that pushes studios to scout talent from developing countries is, I think, the high demand in the industry. And just in recent years alone, we have seen many CGI-heavy productions breaking exceptional records, such as the Super Mario Bros. For having the biggest animated opening weekend and the highest grossing video adaptation, or Avatar: The Way of the Water, which was the first movie to make over $2 billion at the box office after the pandemic. From that, we can see clearly that there is a massive demand for this kind of work. I mean, just look at some of the stats, where according to some studies, the global visual effects market size was valued at $10 billion in 2023, and it is projected to reach $22.9 billion by 2032. And the only way to keep up with this growth is to keep producing even more exceptional content, which consequently needs bigger teams and more work. But well, good VFX artists don't grow on trees, or do they? And this high demand was met with a talent shortage, so one way to face it is by hiring talents from abroad. So as I said, the solution that many studios in the West opted for is going abroad to access talent they couldn't have reached before. Just like how David Lebensfeld, the founding partner and VFX supervisor at Ingenuity Studio, explained, this gives opportunities to people who could not have them otherwise. Because think about it, they only need a computer, a good internet connection, and the industry would gain access to very skilled individuals. Now, there are many more details we can talk about, but I think that's more or less the general idea about the topic. However, we are not done yet, because the question that comes to mind now, does it actually work? Does hiring artists from developing countries is helping studios in the West get the job done? And honestly, it seems like it does. And I know it might seem redundant at this point, but we have to go back to India because it is becoming more and more a vital part of the VFX industry. Throughout the years, the VFX industry of India has reached an important role, especially in the last decade or two, where Indian VFX companies have been an important ingredient in the creation of many Hollywood blockbusters and TV series, as a cost-effective solution that maintains both quality and speed that is required for this level of work. If we try to mention all the projects that were created by the help of VFX studios in India, you might as well bring something to drink because it's gonna take a while. Anyways, we have, for example, The Avengers, Star Wars, Jurassic World, among many others. Now let's address the elephant in the room. For artists in developing countries, the pay gap can feel like a slap in the face. And even though the living cost there may be lower, it doesn't mean they are getting a fair deal for their efforts either, as we could see through the many complaints online, which can eventually lead to a feeling of resentment when they are not being compensated equally for the same quality work as artists from the West. From what I have seen, most artists from the West, from Europe and America for example, they are not too happy that their jobs are going abroad directly or indirectly. First of all, their studio might let them go and replace them with talents from countries like India. Or indirectly, when working online as a freelancer simply because they cannot compete with rates offered by artists from countries such as India. This is the case because there is a big difference in labor cost, which honestly makes it difficult for 3D artists or CG artists in general from higher income countries to compete with someone offering to do the job for 20% or 30% of the total cost, and sometimes even less. I think professional artists who are super talented and have been working in the industry remotely or in studio for a long time, they have their ways around this problem, and for some, I believe it is not even a problem to begin with, because they offer so much value and they already know how to get clients or how to hop to the next studio if they get laid off. But for the average 3D artist from the West, I think this is becoming more of a challenge, because anyone from any place in the world can get the same clients if they are good enough. And of course I'm talking about simple gigs or the average job on the internet. So for me personally, I think the solution is to not settle for good enough and improve to stand out from the crowd. I know this part of the video I pretty much didn't say a lot because it deserves its own video. Nonetheless, I hope this was useful, and if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to receive maybe more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.